Morning everyone, welcome back to the blog. Thank you for joining me again, and if you're new, welcome to the channel. A little bit of a change of plans today. Last vlog I mentioned that I was going to be heading to a waterfall, one of my favourites in the area, but unfortunately the road into the falls is actually closed. And we've also had a couple of days of really heavy rain, which some of the larger waterfalls are not so good to photograph when there's masses of water coming down. You tend to lose all of the lovely detail in the falls. So I've come off track a little bit, and I've passed this route up through here quite a few times in the camper van, and always been intrigued because there's a small waterfall that just comes down just by the road there. So I've walked up the hill a little bit, and it's actually quite stunning. The trees are beautiful. We've got a real mixture of birches, and I'm stood underneath this beautiful horse chestnut tree. And just over the hill there is a waterfall that comes down in two places and joins just a little bit further down the hill. So we've got a nice variety of images that we can be taking. We've got the trees, we've got the lovely beautiful autumn colours, and also we've got the smaller falls as well. So we'll have a look around and let's see what we can get. Okay, so I've come to my first composition. I'm a little way up from the horse chestnut trees that I was stood below earlier on, and I was having a little bit of a trouble finding a nice image there. When it's a little bit overcast, some of the darker trees are very in shadow, and you tend to lose a lot of the detail. So I've come further up, and actually the position I'm in now, we've got this lovely dark horse chestnut tree with those lovely golden yellow leaves that are just standing out in front of it. It's a little bit breezy, so I'll need to watch for a lot of movement there, but it should make a nice image, and I'll show you on the back of the camera what I'm looking at. Okay, so as you can see from my composition, fairly straightforward. I've got the lovely dark horse chestnut there focused in the center of my image, with these beautiful silver birches that come up either side, again evenly spaced so that we don't get any overlapping. And I've tried to also include some of the top part of the tree, but without going into the sky where we would just have very strong bright light. You can see that I've got on my 28 to 70 lens, I've put a polarizer on, and if I turn the polarizer you can see how we lose that reflective light that is coming from the bracken and from the leaves. Now I'm shooting this on ISO 640 at around about a quarter of a second, because every now and again we get a gust of wind and the leaves from the silver birches fall down in front of my image, and it looks really nice. So I'm going to wait around a little bit and see if I can just capture that and take a few shots, and if it's any good, here's the shot. Okay, so while I was photographing the horse chestnuts, Corin was having a little bit of a recce around and she spotted this beautiful scene just a little bit further up from those two trees. And we've got this beautiful birch sat behind these sort of narrow birches that are evenly spaced. And the light is catching the leaves just beautifully. You can just see that they're just starting to turn. So some of those leaves are a lovely golden colour while we've still got some green. And there's the light coming through and you can just see it picking up some of the detail. So what I've done with this composition is I've come further back so that I can capture some of the trees, and I've positioned myself so that they're nice and evenly spaced. What you don't want is one tree blending into the next. So in some instances I've managed to hide the further back trees. I've managed to position behind the ones that are closer in front of me. You can also see those lovely nice rocks that have got the lovely soft moss again catching the light. So I want to get those in the composition as well. And I've got aperture at f14. There's a little bit of movement where the wind's just catching the ends of the trees, but I actually don't mind that. Sometimes it's nice just to have a little bit of a movement in the image. I've got a polarizer on and you can really see the difference with the polarizer. It really punches out the saturation of the colours. So I'll take the shot, and if it's any good, here it is. This really has to be one of the best pleasures of bringing the camper van with you, is being able to brew a fresh cup of coffee when you want it. As a photographer, when you discover a new location, it's so tempting just to run around trying to get all of the shots that you can, and you can get so caught up in the moment, whereas you just need to sometimes just step back and take it all in and think, well, okay, so what can I get the next time I come? What would it be like when the conditions are slightly different? This is lovely, it's autumn time and the colours are orangey browns and it's very vibrant, but you have to sort of think, well, okay, so what would it be like in spring? What would it be like in summer? And kind of set a bit of a plan up, maybe even make a note of the location and the different times that you think it would be good to come. I could quite happily sit here all afternoon drinking coffee and just watching the sky go by, but I know I'm missing some lovely shots, so let's get back out there. So for a landscape photographer, it really doesn't get any better than this. There's a bit of dark sky coming in, but just absolutely beautiful. It's quite mesmerizing watching the falls coming down and watching the water flow down through the trees. So anyway, I've come to this next composition. I mean, it really jumps out. I don't think I need to explain too much with this one. We've got this beautiful oak tree that is sat against this splash of autumn colour, and it really is quite beautiful. And just to the right of the oak, we've got these lovely silver birches that are just sat to the right hand side, and they're just catching the light. Really is quite a beautiful shot. You can see that the way that the tree's twisting and finding its way to the light, quite stunning. Okay, so you can see on the back of the camera screen here, we've got this beautiful oak twisting around and working its way. It's almost pointing to those lovely silver birches, which are lit by the light that's coming from behind me. And a little bit difficult to see on the screen, but we've got this wash of autumn colour just up in the top corner here. And because the oak's so dark, it really stands out against the background. It would have been nice not to have had a lot of this fallen debris on the right hand side here, but it's really going to be quite a stunning shot, I think. When it comes to waterfalls, it really doesn't get any better than this. I'm hoping you can hear me right now because I've got water coming down from just about every side. And we've got this lovely backdrop of water cascading off of the hills behind with this lovely soft light just sat above it. It's quite unusual actually, because often when I'm photographing waterfalls like this, you often end up with an area of sky above, which is usually washed out and not much interest. But in this case, we've got this lovely network of trees with the light softly coming through. Now, one of the problems that I do have is that there's a lot of wind at the moment. And I don't know if you can see, but the branches on the tree to my right and these ferns, which I'm hoping to capture in my image, are just moving slightly. I've increased the ISO up to 800, and I'm shooting at about 1/8 of a second, which probably still isn't ideal to sort of freeze the movement. So I'm going to play around with several different shutter speeds just to see which works the best for this particular image. I'm also taking several different exposures so that I capture the movement in the water, but I don't lose that detail, so that it doesn't go too soft and washy and we get these bright white spots. So I'll show you the back of the camera and we'll have a look and see where I've got the composition. So looking at the back of the camera, you can see that I've obviously got the main falls in the background here, but just at the top we've got this lovely light coming through, and as I say, rather than having a bland sky, we've got this lovely network of trees that are just diffusing the light. I've tried to include this nice bracken, fern actually, no, it is bracken, on the left hand side, and just a little bit of the rock with the leaves on the lower bottom. This is the tree on the left hand side, you can see is moving around quite a bit, so I'm going to have to take several shots, wait for the wind to drop a little bit, and sometimes it's a bit of a waiting game, but we'll see, and if it's any good, here's the shot. Well, it's been an absolutely incredible day today, and it really does show you that it's worth exploring off the beaten track, because we have found some absolutely stunning scenery, beautiful horse chestnut trees, stunning waterfalls. The autumn colours are just incredible and just continue to keep getting better. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please, if you have, give it a thumbs up. And make sure that you don't miss the next episode. Click subscribe and also leave some comments below. It's always good to hear from you, and if you've been to some similar places, then please let me know, and I look forward to you joining me on the next episode.